write it or ChatGPT write it? You can
No, I
tell
have
me.
a policy team. That's right. The library, but I agree with you. ChatGPT. Oh, no. Shoot. There goes your career.
David.
Right.
Thank you.
It having reached the hour of 5:30 p.m., I am calling the June 27th, 2023 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Here.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Councilmember Wright?
Here.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton?
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Here.
Mayor Zwallen?
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Cindy Fraze from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather as a city and to discuss the business. We pray that thou will bless the city council and the mayor, that they'll be watched over and taken care of, and that the best interests of the city will be taken care of in this meeting. We say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. And that was from Matt Fraze, Cindy's husband.
I was wondering.
Does the city clerk have any announcements?
No, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Thank you. Will the city attorney report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council considered an item related to existing litigation at today's closed session. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. First is a proclamation declaring June as Portuguese Heritage Month. I will read the proclamation. The City of Modesto recognizes the rich contributions and cultural heritage that the Portuguese community brings to our city. And the Portuguese community has played an integral role in shaping Modesto's history and economy, while also contributing to the success of our dairy, agriculture, art, and technology industries, among several others. And Portuguese heritage is deeply rooted in Modesto, with generations of families preserving and passing down customs, traditions, and language. And the month of June holds immense importance to the Portuguese community because it highlights and celebrates the unique cultural and historical aspects that they bring to Modesto. And it is important to the city of Modesto that the diverse cultural communities that make up our city are celebrated. And honoring Portuguese Heritage Month provides an opportunity to recognize the significant contributions of the Portuguese community in preserving their cultural identity and fostering cross-cultural connections and understanding. Now, therefore, I, Sue Zwallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as Portuguese Heritage Month in the City of Modesto and encourage residents to join in the festivities, explore Portuguese culture, and celebrate the vibrant heritage of our Portuguese community. Accepting the proclamation will be Marie Kelly, Vice Chair, Portuguese Fraternal Society of America, and Dr. Monique Valence, member of Coalition Portuguese American Politicians and Portuguese Fraternal Society of America. Would you like to step forward and make your comments?
Thank you, Mayor.
Uh-huh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Monique Valance, and I'm a board member of the California Portuguese Action Coalition, as well as the Portuguese Education Foundation of California. I'm also a contributor to the Portuguese American Tribune and past Supreme President of the Portuguese Fraternal Society of America. On behalf of those that are here accompanying me tonight, whom I'll introduce in a moment, we are very honored that the Modesto City Council has decided to honor Portuguese Heritage Month in this way. Our country's history is a rich tapestry that has been woven by generations of people who have immigrated from other countries. Among these immigrants are the Portuguese immigrants. People have immigrated from Portugal, the Azores, and the Madeira Islands. And while there are Portuguese immigrants all over the United States, we have a rather large community in the Central Valley and in Modesto in particular. Our first Holy Ghost celebration was held in 1916, and the Modesto Bee reported that during the Depression, these celebrations were also a place where hungry people were able to get food. Our Portuguese community consists of many business leaders, educators, and politicians, including our own mayor. I'm accompanied by some of our community leaders whom I would like to introduce at this moment. You may notice that we have several representatives from the Portuguese Fraternal Society of America with us this evening. The PFSA recently moved its headquarters from San Leandro to downtown Modesto, and has become a center of Portuguese culture and language in Modesto. It currently houses a museum and the largest Portuguese language library in the United States. First, I'd like to introduce Teresa Avila, notary public and businesswoman. Jonine Barrero, past Supreme President of the PFSA. Marie Kelly Barrero, businesswoman and Vice Chair of the PFSA Board of Directors. Bernice Armas Martinez, Interim CEO of the PFSA. Susan Gonzalez, Sales Representative for PFSA. Monica Cochran, PFSA Sales Representative. And we also have several of our PFSA staff members with us. Alicia Ray, Sandra Crivello, Megan Souza, Danae Underwood, Addie Medeiros, and Alyssa Perales. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm going to come down to present the proclamation. I just wanted to share with everyone that, yes, I am half Portuguese. My maiden name was Susan Marie Silva, and my grandparents, Manuel and Eleanor Silva, and my great-grandparents were from the Azores. One of my great-grandfathers was from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, but the others were from the Azore Islands, Pico and Saint George. So, yes. So, a lot of great memories and many, many great aunts and uncles and our Portuguese family members that live here. So I have very fond memories of all the festas, and really appreciate all of you being here tonight. So I will come down to present the proclamation. So please stay here and we will take a picture. All right, item 2 is a proclamation declaring July as Parks and Recreation Month. I will read the proclamation. Parks and Recreation departments are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the City of Modesto. And Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, and the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and its adaptable infrastructure makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor of the City of Modesto, do hereby proclaim July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Modesto. And we have Lori Smith, and Shannon Parker, and Stephanie Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor Wallen, members of the City Council. Lori Smith, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhoods. Thank you for recognizing Parks and Recreation Month, which is celebrated the July of every year. Tonight, we have 3 community members who will share their experiences in our parks programs. Introducing them will be Stephanie Navarro, our Recreation Supervisor, and Shannon Parker, Recreation Coordinator at the Senior Center. And we're going to start with Stephanie.
All right, welcome.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Navarro, Recreation Supervisor. I'm excited to introduce to you Fred Johnson. He is a 7-year coach for us with the Modesto Junior Giants baseball team. We are incredibly lucky to have him. He is somebody who we can call on for an honest opinion and some really good feedback about our program so we can continue to grow. He coaches not just one team, but often 2 or 3 so we can serve as many kids as possible within our community. So I'd like to introduce Fred Johnson.
Welcome, Fred. Good to see you.
Good, nice seeing you, Mayor. Thank you again. I appreciate this opportunity. Any chance I get to sing the praises of this wonderful department, Parks and Rec department, I'm more than happy to do it. This is one of their organization offers free baseball games for players of all ages, all skill abilities. We take all comers, we take all ages. This wonderful team, this wonderful organization arranges for trainings for the coaches. They organize field maintenance. They organize games. They organize the practices for us. They are just so helpful. I give them a call. I have a question. I get immediate responses every time. Every time I have a question. It's so much fun playing with Junior Giants, not only for people like Stephanie and Shane, but also just seeing the growth of our players. We have coached T-ball last year, and I said, okay, this is your spot, this is your spot, this is your spot. So just wait till the ball comes to you. You don't have to go to it. Sure enough, the ball goes out in the middle of the field, everyone goes to the ball. And so it was so much fun. And this year, you can see the growth in just that little bit of time. The season's about 6 weeks long. You can see so much growth in just every week. They grow, they improve. So it's a lot of fun. I'm so proud to be a part of this department. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here this evening and sharing this with us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Shannon Parker. I'm a Recreation Coordinator at the Modesto Senior Center, and it is my privilege to announce and introduce the family that has 3 generations participating in our Parks Recreation programming. So at this time, I would like to introduce Vicki Strickler and Jackson Strickler Cosgrove.
All right, welcome.
Thank you for letting us share. We love Parks and Rec. We love Modesto, the city of Modesto, both of us born and raised. My mom, 87, couldn't be here today. She loves the senior center. She loves everybody there. She is very present and very cognitive alert when she's there, and she's in her 3rd year of Alzheimer. So it's a blessing for her. She loves the camaraderie. She loves Susie Q. And Susie Q. She loves the food. She loves everything. So she couldn't be here today, but she wanted me to bring the picture. So there you go. And then I have been a part of the exercise program for, gosh, I think at least probably 5 or 6 years. I love it. I talk about it all the time to everybody. It's a wonderful opportunity, very low price, and sometimes it's free. And it's a beautiful thing. It's to be like-minded, be with people that love to exercise. It makes you feel good. And then I brought my grandkids along, we only have one today, so I'm going to share with you our Jackson and what he does with that.
All right, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for letting me come up here today. What my grandma just said, I do love this this regulation. I can't really say it. This what's it called?
All the programs that,
that
you get to do.
All the programs I like to do. I've done junior chefs. I've done junior giants. I think I started when I was in T-ball, and this is my last year doing it today. And not today, but my last year. And I've also done CSI camp, which is my most recent one, and that was a really fun camp to do. I think it was like $40, and that's pretty good for me. I liked it. And yeah, that was.
And don't forget the rest when we wrote them down. We got tennis.
Oh yeah, sorry, my sister couldn't be here today. She had baseball practice for junior giants, but she would have wanted to come here today. Sorry. She's done tennis, swimming, and dance here. And thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. That's a wide variety of activities. All right, thank you for being here this evening. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Lori? All right, I'll bring the proclamation down and present it.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course. Yes. We'll have him. Good to see you again. How's everything? Good to see you. Oh, yeah. Should I present it to you?
Yes. Yep, that's perfect.
It's going to go to Lori. The proclamation.
Thank you so much.
Great speech there, young man. And you brought somebody with you, you didn't introduce them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do, appreciate you. All right.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 3. Consider approving the appointments of Alexandra Von Stade, Galen Carroll, Kirsty Boyette, Chris Guptill, Mike Kelly, Jesse Franco, Aaron Anguiano, Michael Meridian, and Tom Hallinan for the Measure H Oversight Board beginning June 30th, 2023 to serve their respective terms. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll open this up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 3? I do not see anyone in person. Is there, confirming there's no one online? Thank you. I will close public comments and ask council for further comments. Any comments? All right. I have a resolution approving the appointments of Alexandra Von Stade, Galen Carroll, Kirsty Boyette, Chris Guptill, Mike Kelly, Jesse Franco, Aaron Anguiano, Tom Hallinan, and Michael Meridian for the Measure H Oversight Board beginning on June 30th, 2023 to serve their respective terms. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Council.
Second. I did have a comment, but it's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed your name. Go ahead.
No, we'll just go ahead and go.
Okay, all right. I have a motion by Councilmember Wright.
Second.
By Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. So it carries unanimously. Item 4, consider approving the appointments of Jennifer Barrias and Camille Garcia for the City of Modesto public members of the Audit Committee with 4-year terms with term expirations of June 30th, 2027. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public regarding item 14, or excuse me, item 4 that would like to speak? I do not see anyone in person, and they're confirming there's no one online. I will close public comments. Any council comments?
No.
All right. I have a resolution approving the appointments of Jennifer Barrias and Camille Garcia for the City of Modesto public members of the Audit Committee with 4-year terms with term expirations of June 30th, 2027. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. So it carries unanimously. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. I have one blue card and I see one hand raised. Derek Castle in person. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members and staff. Derek Castle, Park Avenue. Early last year, the tennis courts at Gresada were in terrible condition. It would have cost the city over $100,000 to get them repaired. The proposal that I developed and submitted to Parks and Recreation only required Parks and Recs to contribute $16,000 for what are now those beautiful, well-used pickleball courts. A number of days ago, I sent you all a copy of another proposal, this time relating to establishing a safe sleep site. And again, I have a plan for it to be really inexpensive for the city. At the May 9th council meeting, you funded a day centre at D Street for unsheltered folk, that is, those who sleep around on the streets at night. And again, the funding of it was to get meals, showers, job training, life skill classes. It's a great idea. We really want unsheltered folks to use that and to move off the streets. But the problem is the day centres only open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. At 7 p.m. every night, what are we going to do? Are we going to say to them, pack up your carts, put your sleeping stuff in your shopping trolley and walk off around and find a spot downtown? I'm sure Domo won't be too happy if that's what we do. But what are our options? And that's what this proposal that I've sent out is all about. It's a proposal that would allow folk to sleep near the day centre overnight and until something was found more suitable for them. And I really want to emphasise that this proposal is not a campground in any sense that you might be thinking about. It's just a place to sleep. It would have limited hours, could be closed all day and just opened in the evening for folk to sleep at night. In the morning, they'd go back to the day centre. And since it would be a spot simply for sleeping, it would be really inexpensive. I went yesterday to talk to the Salvation Army and walk around the site to look at it. And what I want to report to you is that the proposal I sent to you is considered to be very doable and very realistic. In fact, adding a sleep spot to what the day centre will be doing is likely to make the day centre even much more effective in helping unsheltered folk to have a positive life outcome. This has great potential and will be something unique for Modesto. What I would like to ask, if it's okay, Mayor, is that maybe one of the City Council members is willing to request City staff to look at this proposal and bring back a report at a subsequent meeting as to its viability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, next online, I see Ramon Rodriguez. Ramon Rodriguez, we cannot hear you. And he's typed in, can everyone hear me? We cannot hear you. No, we cannot hear you.
Maybe we can come back to him.
I'm going to suggest, Ramon, that you try to call in again. All right, next we will go to Steve. Looks to be the same situation. I wonder if it's something on our end technologically. We're going to try to see if we can fix this on our side. All right, Steve, if you're there, can you speak so we can see if we can hear you?
Hello?
Oh. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, just FYI, I could hear Ramon through Zoom perfectly fine. I appreciate you sorting that out for me. And I especially appreciate you not starting my 3 minutes before I had started talking like you sometimes do. I'm just calling today because we are indeed coming up on the 4th of July. I know it's a holiday that means a lot to a lot of people. And in some people's minds, it means silencing victims of police violence. It doesn't mean that to everybody, but it's, you know, patriotism, love the cops, hate the people the cops abuse. It kind of jives, right? I'm calling today to remind you that there are a lot of things that you continue to try to sweep under the rug that you don't want to remember, but we, the people of the community, we remember. A year ago, on July 4th, Officer Jacob Mertz and his partner arrived to deal with a mental health call for service, mental health related call for service. The gentleman was having some trouble and had some knives with him in his bedroom. Some of us already know what happened, but basically, long story short, everything was going really well, and Officer Mertz managed to get the guy to come out of his room. and talk rationally. But at a point, Mertz got overconfident and he got cocky. And I forgot to say, he and his partner, they never took the knives out of the dude's bedroom. Okay, so your police officers expressly screwed up their jobs and created the situation. Because what happened next was that the gentleman picked up on the fact that Jacob Mertz was trying to manipulate him, and to use his own word that he uses in the police video released, he was coercing him. Well, he wasn't as convincing as he thought, and when the gentleman picked up on that, he relapsed back into the state of mind that they were hoping to get him out of, because Mertz was not being forthcoming, and he wasn't smart enough to recognize that the guy that he was dealing with wasn't stupid, and he picked up on that. Basically, what ended up happening, as many of us know, is the guy was afraid because he knew that Mertz was trying to coerce him, Mertz's own words again, into going with him, and he said, "Oh, you're not under arrest. We're taking you to the hospital, but it's not an option." And I'm not necessarily addressing that. But here's the thing: when you watch that video, ask yourself, if you were dealing with this guy, would you think that he's sincere? Because I thought he sounded like an asshole. But you know what? It was going well, and it was working. So I was like, okay, fine. He's not talking to me. Like that's not the goal. I think he sounds fake and condescending, but that's not the issue here. But what happened was, the guy he was trying to convince, he became very doubtful and afraid, and he went back into that bad place in his mind, went back into his room, and lo and behold, the knives were still there that your two police officers left. By the way, that is insane. Who does that? Like, you can't even think to take the weapon out of the room. So basically, they go back in the room, and Mertz ends up shooting the guy. And thank God he's still alive, but now he's facing charges of attempting to kill a police officer. And what you guys have been trying so damn hard to forget this entire year is that Mertz created the situation after he very lackadaisically had solved it. So what did we do about that? When we, the community, talk about holding police accountable, we mean stuff like that. We don't just mean when Sam Muncie plainly murders Paul Chavez Jr. in cold blood. We don't just mean when Joseph LaMantia murders Trevor Sieber. We want you guys to keep cops accountable and stop pretending like when Jacob Mertz does stuff like that it's no big deal.
All right, please finish. Please finish.
You're ashamed. You're ashamed.
Okay.
Stop giving other people you like extra time.
All right, we're going back to Ramon Rodriguez. Since we were unable to connect you, let's try again.
Can everyone hear me fine?
We can, yes.
Okay. Back on my saying, since it's National Public Parks Month, I have ideas, especially in West and South Modesto, because the parks need to be revitalized to give people in these communities the dignity and pride to have beautiful parks like every part of Modesto. And especially when there's plans to build a stadium, a football stadium at a former municipal park, that is awesome, because that will give kids in West Modesto a chance to play sports, to go play in the playgrounds, ride their bikes, and also be perfect for Modesto High and surrounding teams to have their own stadium. And also building affordable housing in the same area, which means people who live in this affordable housing will go to the park at the same time. So they'll have a place where they can unwind, relax, and de-stress, because studies have shown, like you said earlier with the proclamation, it'll improve mind, balance, and mental health. And that's what we need for West and South Modesto. Particularly these areas, they need revitalized parks. And as for my words I said on the other council meeting, I saw a clip of the last supervisor meeting, and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Modesto is at it again, spewing the big lie, saying that the 2020 election was stolen and all this nonsense. We all know why she's doing this. She's promoting her far-right agenda of bigotry and hate. And we all know why Melinda Mason is doing this. She wanted to promote the straight pride again. And that's where I told all of you to do something more than just proclaiming Pride Month. Pride Month is not just June. It's every day, 365 days a year, because right now, more than ever, the LGBTQ plus community is in danger of losing their civil rights and being targets of hatred and almost close to genocidal persecution caused by the far right that's happening in American society. And you need to stand up, because Don Grumman and Melinda Mason, they're going to be emboldened and empowered, and they're going to show up the promoted hate. And I ask you all to take a stand and tell these hate mongers and bigots that Modesto is inclusive, that Modesto will not tolerate hate, and that they should take the bigotry out of here. Because the LGBTQ community is part of our community. They're part of our family, friends, co-workers, colleagues, and they need their rights respected like everyone else. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, Alicia Hager.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'd like to remind everybody that although all lives matter and it is very important to get our 10,000 steps into, right? We all like to stay healthy. We all need to get our exercise to maintain our mental health, because as you know, the cops are not mentally healthy. They are not trained to do right in very chaotic, stressful situations, which is actually why they get paid so much. But nevertheless, don't worry, because I do have a proclamation. I do have a proclamation for this. Now, I suggest that with all the money that we did defund from the police from not doing their jobs initially, they should be using it for their training during their psych evaluation, which they should be getting every 6 months, especially mandatory after a shooting and especially after their investigation from our 3-party audit now. Thank you very much, Modesto, for approving that. Now, I do not understand how these people exactly are being chosen, although we are leaving it to the city council. I am hoping that you guys have the same faith and recommendations as us, because as Ramon says, we are not tolerating hate. We are not tolerating any discrimination. And unfortunately, police, that badge means you too. We are not tolerating any hate. We are not tolerating any discrimination. You are going to be held accountable just as anyone else would be. Nevertheless, gun, not gun, you need to have your Glock with the block gun. You know what I'm saying? Your block goes with the Glock. And if you ain't got the Glock, then you can't block the block. You know what I'm saying? That needs to be your guys' motto. You guys need to be on training. The fact that you guys haven't even hit this training motto is absolutely absurd. It's like you guys are setting yourself up for unsuccessful failure. You are putting yourself in a fire doom and expecting water to hit you. That is not the way the world works, honey. Now, Cookie Crumbles, sorry, I didn't want to do it to you, Sue. But that's not how the world works. Now, we need to have our audit with a safety plan with the police. If we don't have a safety plan with the police, then why are you guys putting $1.4 million into the hands of nothing? You guys are going to do this audit for what? So you're just going to keep putting money in and putting it out? It's going to become a surplus system of mess-ups and mistakes that you can't correct. Although, stand corrected, it won't be under your hands, right? Because you guys are saying that we don't need training. I hope the chief is here, because I know he's standing there staring at his phone. Get off of Facebook and listen to me. Chief, this is important. You need to train your staff. If you don't, what kind of staff do you got running here? What kind of people do you have running the city? Is this your city or is this our city? Because if it's yours, then it looks like a damn shame and it's got your face on it. All that blood is on your hand, and we will be there with our hands down, with our face mourning, and raising our grief on Friday at 11 a.m. for Paul Chavez. Justice for Paul. 2 more seconds and it pisses her off. I know it. Hansu.
All right, next is Brittany Chavez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I agree with everything that she said. She's absolutely correct. There wasn't anything that she said that was not correct. What are you going to do about it? We got a whole city, and a whole city can uplift the rest of us. At every time I go out, and I go out there with signage, protesting, speaking, giving out flyers, and they are appalled by the stuff that they hear, and let alone with the video that is being shown to them. Because at the same time, I tell them, I can't even tell you right now. Do me a favor, go ahead, Google the video. They Google the video, and they are appalled. But here I have a mayor and city council members, politicians, who don't give a crap about this family. If you don't give a crap about this family, about this city, about everybody around us, then what do you give a crap about? Except for the money that goes into your pocket. I have a problem with that. We all have a problem with that. See, when I moved here from Antigua. I didn't stay in no Stanislaus County crap. I came from San Joaquin County. And they even had repercussions over there for some of the things that happened over there. And I'm like, excuse me? No, I'm not. Because at this point, it's a cop fucking thing. And that crap don't fly by. So what are you going to do about it? Because I'm so sick and tired of having to repeat the same thing. Well, I mean, I guess the same thing you guys do. I mean, you get paid to do the same thing, right? Show up, be there.
Good job.
What? It's your job to do right by the people. But you don't care. Because if you cared, I haven't heard one thing. And with your whole wannabe reform, whatever the crap that you think, I didn't fight for that. Remember that. And when I come in, I'm coming in hard. And when I come in hard, I'm coming in hard. I'm going to take down the city. I'm going to take down the chief of police. I'm going to take down Muncie. I'm going to take Valencia. And I'm going to take everybody down with anything that happened that day. Because what you took from me, you have no freaking idea what you took from me. So you just wait. Because if you can't do something about it, because you on this rightful earth, God's chosen people, but you choose not to be, you'll have a dream about this soon. I guarantee it. And with that being said, I suggest you pray. I'm done.
Next, we have Teresa Clutter. We need you to end. Oh, there we
Hello?
go. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Teresa Clutter. I am the mother-in-law of Paul Chavez. I am here to still fight for his justice and accountability for his death, or the homicide that was caused by Samuel Adam Muncie on July 14th, 2022, in front of myself, his wife, and his father-in-law. You know, it's sad. We're coming up on almost a year since the passing of my son, and you know, we just had Father's Day, and I think out of all of the holidays that we've had since Paul has been killed, Father's Day, well, Mother's Day and Father's Day have been the hardest for our families, or at least for me. You know, his boys, my grandsons, they're used to waking up in the morning and running in there and you know, spending the day with their dad. And this year was difficult, not only for our family, but for his wife. You know, what do you do with yourself on these days when you're used to spending it with your spouse and your family and your kids and your unit, you know, and then these things come up and they're difficult, you know, they're very difficult to deal with. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Not having answers, not having accountability, not getting justice for the things that went on that day is horrible. And it is beyond, I don't even have the words for it, because it's just disturbing. And here we still mourn. You know, days go by. They don't get easier. They get more difficult because it's more time, more things that we don't get to have with Polly anymore. And we just want somebody to fight for us. Who fights for us other than us? Who's out there saying enough is enough? This isn't right. This isn't okay. This isn't the first rodeo Sam Muncie's had. This is his second killing within 5 years. Joseph LaMattia, 5 killings during his career before his card is pulled. Sam Muncie will kill again. That is a guarantee. And it's up to you guys if you're going to allow that to happen, because it will be on your watch. Fight for us, Sue. Fight for us, council. Fight for us, city. Help us! Justice for Paul Chavez.
All right, next I have Nico Solario.
Hello, good afternoon. And it's Solorio. All O's. No worries though. You guys can hear me, correct?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to, so I saw in the paper in the Modesto Bee regarding the Measure H spending and the Oversight Committee. I just wanted to kind of make it clear that I think it's a little, how should I say this? Time consuming, or not time consuming, I'm sorry guys, I've had a long day. I'll just get to it. Galen Carroll, a former police chief here in Modesto, being on a committee, being able to oversee budgets that can potentially go towards the Modesto Police Department, I just feel is a conflict of interest. So if the council can just think about that when voting on this oversight committee, I would appreciate it. And I think a lot of other people that are interested and are looking into the Modesto Police Department, a lot of things that are happening, would be also questioning him being on this committee. But that is it. That's all I had to say. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a great rest of your evening.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anyone else wishing to come forward to speak under public comment?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to say something, and I'd like to speak to everybody. Number one, when those first people came up, we could not hear them, or rather, I could not. I don't know about back there, but I could not hardly hear them at all. When this recording comes on, or whatever in the heck it is so loud, you can hear it 2 blocks away. It's ridiculous. And I hope and pray you guys don't hear it like I could, but it was downright ridiculous. And the next I would like to ask, why is it that those guys haven't got enough guts to come down here and speak directly to everyone if they're going to use that kind of language, and every time they turn around they do? Then also, are you going to be talking tonight about the garbage? Thank you.
Yes. All right, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak for items not on the agenda? Confirming there's no one online or in person. All right, next on the agenda is consent items. Any item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone in the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? I do not see anyone in person requesting that, confirming there's no one online to pull a consent item? All right, will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item number 5, consider approving the minutes from the June 13th, 2023 council meeting. Item number 6, consider an ordinance amending section 2-1.18 and adding section 2-1.28 to the chapter 1 of title 2 of the Modesto Municipal Code regarding the audit committee. Item number 7, consider approving the renewal of 8 commercial cannabis retail permits for dispensaries in the city for a further 2-year period ending June 30th, 2025, approving a change in ownership policy for the commercial cannabis permits within the City of Modesto, and approving changes in ownership for Janessa LLC and CV Wellness LLC. Item number 8, consider approving a will serve letter and outside service agreement for sewer connection for the property located at 1008 Panama Drive in an unincorporated Stanislaus County just outside of the city limits of Modesto. Item number 9, consider approving the submission of a grant application for the Organized Retail Theft Prevention Grant Program to the Board of State and Community Corrections for up to $6.125 million in grant funds. Item number 10, consider approving an agreement with West Yost Associates for engineering services for the pump station at Jennings Water Quality Control Plant project for a total amount not to exceed $510,177. Item number 11, consider approving an agreement for the furnishing of cathodic protection testing and reporting services to Core Pro Companies Incorporated for a total amount not to exceed $896,192 over 5 years. Item number 12, consider approving an MOU for a mutual pay agreement for the far field dilution and constituents of emerging concern studies between the City of Modesto, the City of Turlock, and the Del Puerto Water District to comply with state permit requirements. Item number 13, consider accepting the Jennings emergency bypass as complete and authorizing all payments to Rain for Rent and AmeriCorps Incorporated for a total cost of $72,820. And item number 14, consider accepting the Well 71 Service Improvements Project as complete, releasing securities and releasing payments totaling $2,511,017 to Conoco West of Manteca, California.
May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
A motion by Councilmember Bavaro, second by Councilmember Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye, so it carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any of the council members have any comments and reports? Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 reports. Last week, we had Meet the Mayor in my district, East La Loma Park, and gave the opportunity for the mayor to meet with some of my constituents in that district. And also, last Saturday, I met with residents in Lincoln Estate, which is part of my district, and listened to their concerns. Obviously, the blue can was the popular topic of the day, and hopefully tonight we'll be able to solve that problem. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, next is Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to start off by thanking staff for the proactive strategies that have been enacted over the last couple of weeks at Crescenta Park. Neighbors are telling me that they're seeing improvements in safety in the park, and that's just a reason to celebrate. I think it's important that we remain vigilant, but I know the people of District 3 really appreciate the city's efforts. So hoping we can keep that going. I also want to talk about 4th of July. It's coming. That means friends, family, and fireworks. It also means a 4th of July parade, right, Councilmember Williams?
Absolutely.
That's right. Safe and sane fireworks are legal and lots of fun, so I recommend buying fireworks from our local nonprofits. My personal favorite is the Beyer High School Band because my son marches. This is usually one of their biggest fundraisers of the year, so take care of all of our nonprofits, but especially the Beyer Band. It's also important to note, though, that there's lots of illegal fireworks out there, mortars, bottle rockets, M80s, firecrackers, etc. They're all illegal. If you light them off, you could end up celebrating 4th of July with a $1,000 fine. So that's not a great way to go. So if you see illegal fireworks, make sure to report them either with the Go Modesto app or calling Modesto Police Department on the non-emergency line. That's 209-552-2470. 209-552-2470, and you can just Google it if you don't have it. Finally, this is our last meeting before 4th of July. I also just wanted to say good luck to the Modesto Marching Brigade. That includes Bayer High School, by the way, that will be proudly representing Modesto in Washington, D.C. at the National 4th of July celebration. Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome. Next is Councilmember Escudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the honor, since we last convened as a council, to speak at a women's empowerment luncheon. I was one of 4 speakers. There was both men and women in the audience and many students. The theme was how, through strength and perseverance, a woman can overcome and achieve tough times, poor health, homelessness, just the many adversities that life throws our way. And just through speaking through our personal experience, we spoke to the audience. The messages were very heartfelt and very well received. It was an honor to speak to the audience. Also, that week, the mayor and I were invited by a school board member, to visit Chrysler Elementary School. They had much concerns for traffic safety and just the speed, a high rate of speed many of the cars drove around the school campus. We were delighted to inform them that with our existing traffic calming program, they will be receiving 2 or 3 flashing signs that indicate it's a 50-mile-per-hour zone. Then this is an existing program that we have had and we continue to implement, where every school in Modesto will be receiving the review and assessment of how many flashing school zone signs they will receive indicating 50 miles per hour. We, as I understand, normally put anywhere between 10 to 15 of these signs, roll them out throughout the year. We will continue to do so until all the areas needing these signs have them in our schools in Modesto. So that's a good thing, preventing much havoc and just improving the health and safety of our schools areas. Also, I just, in the anticipated days, it is going to be very hot, so I encourage you all to stay cool. And if I don't see you before the 4th of July, have a happy 4th of July. Thank you.
All right, I'll follow up with mine and then go to the next council members. In regards to the cooling zones, this weekend the weather is expected to shift to triple digits. So there are many cooling zones throughout the county. One locally that I wanted to highlight, there's 2 that I want to highlight, but our Stan RTA bus station, which is at 1001 9th Street, will be open during all operating hours, which are Monday through Sunday. And Monday it starts at 5:15 in the morning till 11:15 p.m. That's Monday through Friday. Saturday from 7:15 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday from 8:45 a.m. to 8:15 p.m. And no fare is required in July. And even during times when fares are required, when there is an excessive heat warning, the fares are waived. So anyone in the county can be on a bus and be taken to a cooling center throughout the county so that they can remain safe during this time. So please spread that word widely. Our library will also be open Monday through Saturday, our Stanislaus County Library, Modesto Library, and there's many other places, as I mentioned. So please keep that in mind during this heat, because it can be very dangerous for those, especially that are in the elements. I also wanted to highlight that on June 15th, we had the official reopening of the Transit Center that I just described. and it was really delightful. We had people in period costumes. There was music from the Johansson Band with Brad Hart conducting it. It was really a festive occasion and very well attended by all the agencies, Rail, Stan RTA, Stan COG, just a really great celebration. So I wanted to mention that also. Next, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start with Councilwoman Rosa Scudier-Brayton, who did an outstanding job. It was very uplifting. All four of the speakers did an incredible job. People left there encouraged, strengthened, and uplifted. So thank you for your kind words, and it was worth seeing again if it were on TV. So thank you for that. Last Saturday, Council Member Eric Alvarez and I were at the Juneteenth festivities. He said a few words and read a proclamation to the audience that were surrounding the park. And I want to thank him for taking time out to be there and representing the city of Modesto that particular day. It was a great day. We did do a march around the park. There were about maybe 45 different individuals that walked around the park. It was a great turnout throughout the day. Now, of course, you probably don't know what I'm going to talk about next, but the 4th of July is on its way, and it's here coming up really, really, really soon. But before I get to that, I do want to congratulate and thank our neighboring city, Riverbank, for their first annual Juneteenth festivities that took place on the 19th on Monday. I was very proud to see that they did that. It was a good turnout, and I'm sure next year will be outstanding. Also, Moban is happening every Thursday. I don't think the temperatures are going to be in the triple digits at that particular day, which is coming up. And I do want to thank our Vice Mayor, Chris Rickey, who actually talked about those students that are going to miss our 4th of July parade here in Modesto. But we are so happy that they have this opportunity of a lifetime to go to Washington, D.C. and represent Modesto, which is a wonderful thing. Well, the 4th of July parade is coming up on the 4th, Tuesday the 4th, starts at 9:30. It says it might be a little warm, but guess what? We'll be done by noon. So you get there early enough, we'll have about 115 entries, along with your illustrious and wonderful city council members and mayor, who will be in tow with all of her 29 children and grandchildren, I think it is. She has to get a trailer, so she's going to comment on that, or I'm in trouble. But we do have a Grand Marshal. The Grand Marshal is none other than the Graffiti Museum and their first board members, which are about 9 or 10 of them. They should have some very expensive show cars that will be going down the street. And we are thankful for their endeavor in putting together this wonderful opportunity for people to go and visit the museum, the car museum, and you'll hear more about that then. We do have a champion of the 4th, which is none other than Brian and Laura Genie, because they have to add the wife, because, you know, behind a good man is a good wife, a good woman, and she has helped, no doubt, giving up of her time with him so that he can come and volunteer the things that he has done throughout our community. It's vast, it's in the thousands, and so we thank him for that. But also we have something new this year for our 150th celebration. 150 years. Yes, there were a couple of them that didn't work out during the war. However, 150 years, pretty much consecutive. And we have a hometown hero who was born and raised here. His family was born and raised here. And he has been selected, or he not only selected last year, to become a Dallas Cowboy number 26, Deron Bland. So he will be representing Modesto as a hometown hero. Very proud of the young man. I know he's going to do a phenomenal job. And then along with that, I do want to let you all know that I wanted to say thank you to the Measure H staff, you know, particularly, he already left, Mr. Christensen, Stephen, who took on that role in getting everything together along with his staff. I want to appreciate them for doing that. And then lastly, guess what? 3 days after the 4th of July parade is the Stanislaus County Fair. And if you want to go to the Stanislaus County Fair free, then you can go on Sundays only from 12 to 3 o'clock. 12 to 3 o'clock on Sundays, you can go free. However, we have a great lineup of musicians and singers that you all will enjoy. And we certainly pray that the weather will not be in the triple digits. Other than that, you can have a great summer. I'm glad to say that Parks and Rec has always been a part of us as we together put the 4th of July parade together with the City of Modesto. And so we're very, very thankful for their partnership and helping us through this. This is not just the Kiwanis 4th of July parade. It's the City of Modesto, Parks and Rec, and they do a wonderful job in helping us get to what we need to do and have a wonderful, wonderful day there. And so the last thing is this. Our theme is Sunshine, Stars, and Stripes. Turn to your neighbor and say, Sunshine, Stars, and Stripes. You don't have to do that, just kidding. But that is what it is. That's our theme. We're looking forward to Mrs. Allison, who is going to be doing our national anthem. So no pressure on her right now, and if you want to hear her sing the national anthem, she will be there about 9:15 or so is when we do a ceremony representing all of the veterans who actually made a way and those who didn't make it back for us to be able to celebrate the 4th of July parade. So that's it. Thank you much for listening.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to be brief tonight. I want to highlight what my colleague, Mr. Williams, said earlier. I had a great time at the Juneteenth festival and march. Secondly, I'm looking forward to the 4th of July parade. It's the first year I will actually be participating in it. I have been on the sidelines in years past with my family, but I am looking forward to that as much as I was looking forward to participating in the graffiti parade. Thirdly, I want to have a brief comment on housing. I've been having conversations with folks in my district about affordable housing on Muni Golf Course, and I recall a couple of meetings back that Modesto High has been advocating here publicly for some sort of stadium. And so I want to highlight the great work that our housing department has been doing on public partnerships. What I mean by that is public government and other public nonprofit partnerships, such as Visionary Home Builders applying to the state for $50 million for affordable housing on 7th Street. That's 79 units. And I want to make a recommendation to our staff and my colleagues here that in a time that the state is in a desperate housing crisis, we need to entertain and incentivize private investors to come to Modesto and have a discussion on how we can have some sort of partnerships, public and private. Furthermore, I want to send out a little birdie to Modesto City Schools to have a dialogue with my office and my council colleagues on potentially having some sort of partnership, at least discussing some sort of potential partnership with that stadium over there. I think that we can be creative with public-private partnerships, and I'm looking forward to having those dialogues, especially on Muni. Thank you.
All right, back to Councilmember Williams.
I'm sorry, I left out the fact that there is going to be a fireworks show at John Thurman Field that evening on the 4th. And so after you get done with the parade and you're not sure what you want to do, you can go over to John Thurman Field. There will be a game as well as the fireworks show. Thank you, Mayor, for giving me this extra opportunity.
All right, you're welcome. That's it. All right. Does the city manager have any comments and reports? All right, next on the agenda is hearings. Item 15, hearing to consider approving fiscal year 2023-24 diagram and annual assessment and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Landscape Maintenance Assessment District Number 1 for Dry Creek Meadows subdivisions numbers 1 through 6. Do we have a staff report? All right, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Peter Ibrahim, Infrastructure Financing Program Supervisor.
Community and Economic Development Department. I will be doing a presentation on items 15, 16, and 17 tonight. A bit of background on these 3 items. The city has 2 landscape maintenance and assessment districts and 1 landscape and lighting district. And this is the final action that will be taken by council to authorize the levy for the upcoming fiscal year 2023-24. Some background on LMAD 1. It was formed in 1988, and it consists of 749 residential parcels. It is located east of North McClure Road and southwest of the Modesto Irrigation District, lateral number 2 and Claus Road. This district provides funding for landscape maintenance along the public right-of-way, street medians, and areas adjacent to the control walls in the Dry Creek Meadows subdivision. When the district was formed, no annual escalator was adopted, and the assessment has stayed the same since 1996 at $26 per parcel. LMAD number 2 is directly south of LMAD 1 and pays for similar items, landscape maintenance along the public right-of-ways. It consists of 590 residential parcels and 18 commercial parcels. The assessment district is adjusted annually according to the ENR Building Cost Index, BCI, of the San Francisco Bay Area in the second week of March. For the 590 residential parcels, we are levying $46.87 per parcel. And for the 18 commercial parcels, we're levying $238.21. The Shackelford Landscape and Lighting District was formed in 1999 by the Stanislaus County and transferred in 2012. This district pays for the maintenance of and utility bills of 77 200-watt high-pressure sodium street lights. The levy for this upcoming fiscal year is $61.25 per parcel, which is the same as last fiscal year. And all the costs for the Shackelford Lighting and Landscape District are paid by the assessments levied on each property within the assessment area. And there's no annual escalator associated with the Shackelford Lighting and Landscape District. The previous council actions on February 28, 2023, council directed staff to prepare and file the annual engineer's report. On April 11, 2023, council adopted the resolution approving the annual engineer's reports and resolution of intent to levy and collect assessments and set a public hearing in which we are before you tonight. And tonight we're asking to levy the taxes on the tax bill for the upcoming fiscal year. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, regarding item 15, we will do these individually. Is there any questions of staff? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Peter, thanks for the presentation. Going back to lateral number 1, the levy is going to be $26 per parcel, correct?
Correct.
What is the current levy right now?
The current levy?
Yes.
It's always been $26 per parcel.
It's going to stay the same?
Correct.
Okay, so that's not increasing at all?
No.
Okay, and lateral 2, same thing?
Lateral 2 has an annual escalator.
Okay.
So that is increasing. So last fiscal year, it was $45.78 per parcel.
It's going to go up to $46.87.
Correct.
Okay.
For the commercial, last fiscal year was $232.64 per acre.
Thank you. And then on the Stafford,
Shackelford is staying the same as last year.
Same
It's
as last year.
$61.25 per parcel.
No change. Okay, thank you. That's my question.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Scuti-Brayton.
So today before us, we have the landscape maintenance assessment for District 1 and District 2. Are those the only 2 districts we have in the city of Modesto?
So these districts were formed by the city, the first 2. The second one was formed by the county and then transferred on over into the city. But these are assessment districts. The city has 15 community facilities districts.
Community facilities districts. Okay, so you're either an assessment district or a community fee district.
Correct. All new development in terms of residential, we typically see a community facilities district associated with development.
Okay, so all landscaping services and assessments are under the umbrella of one of these two processes?
Not necessarily. These are three separate districts that offer three distinct
Right, one is
services.
landscaping, one is lighting.
Correct, yeah. So the first two are landscape maintenance within the public right-of-ways and their respective boundaries. And then the third one, Shackelford, pays for 77 streetlights and maintenance of those streetlights within the Shackelford district.
My concern, or it's just my focus is to, I want to make sure that what process governs the landscape maintenance of the communities of the city and Modesto, the neighborhoods. In the staff report, staff very articulately identified the sectors that it is covered by District 1 and by District 2. I was curious, the other areas in the city of Modesto, what covers the maintenance for that? And it sounds like it's either covered under the CFD or an assessment district.
For the most part.
For the most part. Okay, and how are all of these assessed annually, whether an assessment or a CFD?
These three are assessed annually, correct. CFDs are associated with an escalator that is different from what we see related to these three districts. So for example, LMAD 1 has no escalator, so it always has stayed the same at $26 per parcel.
Okay.
Landscape Maintenance Assessment District number 2 has an escalator that is related to the ENR BCI building cost through the second week of March. And Shackelford has no escalator associated with it. It's paid for by what the proposed expenses are for the upcoming fiscal year.
And is it the development process that determines whether an escalator will be associated with it or not?
No, typically that's decided upon or voted upon through the formation process, at least when these three districts were formed. And for LMAT 2, there was a Prop 218 vote that was decided upon, and so that's when a escalator was implemented for LMAT 2.
Okay. And that's done at the state level or local level?
The escalation of or Prop 218. The Prop 218 process is facilitated by staff, and it's voted on by the residents within that respective district.
So a local level?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions from staff? All right. I will now open the public hearing. Any members of the public that would like to come forward to speak on item 15? I do not see anyone in person, confirming that there's no one online. Then I will close public comments. I have a resolution approving the fiscal year 2023 diagram and annual assessment and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Landscape Maintenance Assessment District Number 1 for Dry Creek Meadows subdivisions numbers 1 through 6. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Councilmember Wright.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky? Aye. Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye, so it carries unanimously. Next is item 16, a hearing to consider approving fiscal year 2023 diagram and annual assessment and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Landscape Maintenance Assessment District Number 2 for Dry Creek Meadows subdivisions numbers 7 through 10. Creekwood Meadows subdivision and Yosemite Meadows subdivisions units 1 and 2. For the staff report, is there anything additional to add for item 16?
No, Mayor.
All right. Does council have any questions of staff regarding item 16? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing and ask members of the public to come forward. Is there anyone in person? Seeing none, confirming there is no one online, I will close public comments. Ask council for comments. Seeing none, I have a resolution approving the fiscal year 2023-24 diagram, an annual assessment, and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Landscape Maintenance Assessment District Number 2 for Dry Creek Meadows subdivisions numbers 7 through 10, Creekwood Meadows subdivision, and Yosemite Meadows subdivision units 1 and 2. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion by
Second.
Councilmember Wright, second by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the clerk call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwollen?
Aye, carries unanimously. Item 17, hearing to consider approving fiscal year 2023-24 diagram, an annual assessment, and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Shackelford Landscape and Lighting District. Is there anything additional to add regarding item 17 on the staff report?
No, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public to come forward regarding item 17? Seeing no one in person, confirming there is no one online, thank you. I will close public comments. Any comments from council members? Seeing none, I have a resolution approving the fiscal year 2023-24 diagram, an annual assessment, and ordering the levy and collection of charges within Shackelford Landscape and Lighting District. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Bavaro, seconded by Councilmember Scutia-Brayton. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwollen?
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. I think at this time we will take a 5-minute break prior to item 18. 5 minutes. We'll resume at 6:55 p.m. right, we are ready to resume the meeting. This is item 18. A hearing to consider approving the annual rate adjustment to the maximum rate schedule for city solid waste collection services provided by the solid waste haulers for an increase of $4.76 per month for residential services with weekly green organics container collection, an increase of $1.52 per cubic yard for commercial services, and an increase of $36.82 per pull for industrial services to become effective August 1st, 2023, and rescinding resolution number 2022-276 for the July 1st, 2022 annual rate adjustment, and adjusting the fuel rates for an adjustment of 4 cents per month for residential services, an adjustment of 8 cents per cubic yard for commercial services to become effective August 1st, 2023, and rescinding resolution number 2022-277 for the July 1st, 2022 annual rate adjustment, and an agreement with HF&H Consultants, LLC to conduct an audit and performance review for the solid waste haulers to analyze the current rate-setting methodology and test it for validity, and develop new rates methodology for a total amount not to exceed $150,000. So we will have a staff report at this time. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Rosine Nguyen, Integrated Waste Program Manager with Public Works. Today I'll be discussing the adjustment to the maximum rate schedule for solid.
Hold your voice up here, that maybe where we can hear you.
Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I will be discussing today adjustments to the maximum rate schedule for solid waste collection services. So City of Modesto has two contracts with two different franchise haulers. We have Jilton Solid Waste and Bertolotti Disposal Services. Basically, the two haulers, they do collect residential, commercial, and industrial waste from the entire city of Modesto. And Jilton covers about 2/3 of the residential and commercial accounts in the city, and Bertolotti covers approximately 1/3 of the commercial and residential accounts. The solid waste rate setting process, it is governed by the Modesto Municipal Code under Section 5-5131, as well as in the hauler's franchise agreements. This process is as follows. Rates are reviewed annually, fuel rates are reviewed quarterly, and adjustments are made when necessary. The haulers must provide to the city with audited financial statements within 120 days after the end of the fiscal year. And both haulers for this year submitted their financial statements. However, after staff reviewed it, staff were unable to verify the numbers. So this is why later on in the presentation, you'll see that we're proposing an index-based rate instead of increasing the rates based off of the hauler's financials. And per the service agreement with the solid waste haulers, base rates are adjusted if deemed necessary by City of Modesto Council. So SB 1383 is a largely unfunded state mandate that requires all solid waste generators, including residential and commercial, to be provided with organic waste and recycling services. And SB 1383 main goal is to reduce short-lived climate pollutants by diverting as much as possible waste from the landfill. And in May of 2022, staff presented to the Finance Committee with 3 different collection options, and also staff conducted a public survey, and the outcome for the public survey is a majority of people that did the survey, they preferred option B, which was organic, which is a 3-container option, weekly garbage, biweekly organic, and biweekly recycling collection. And the reason why we presented a 3-container option to the Finance Committee is because having a 3-container option automatically ensures compliance with the state, with CaRecycle. And on June 14, 2022, Council approved a 3-container system, and that 3-container system fully took effect on January 1st, 2023. Weekly garbage, biweekly organics to be conducted on a 1-year pilot, and biweekly recycling. And also last year, staff conducted another survey where we did a survey for 59 California cities. And from these 59 cities, we found out that 78% of these cities are actually, they do have 3-container system, and that's how they assured their compliance with SB 1383. I'm sure if we do the survey now, the 22% will probably increase because most cities that have 1 or 2 container system are, if they do not have a material recovery facility, their way to comply is to have a 3-container system. And the graph in here shows the red line is before SB 1383 implementation, and the graph shows the organics contamination level. So prior to January 1st to 2023, contamination level in the organics container were extremely high. It was about 30% for Bertolatti area and about 14% for Jilton. And with the implementation of the 3-container system, actually, our contamination for the organics have decreased to 7% in Bertolatti area and 3% in Jilton area. And also, on the side, I do have in here that garbage contamination is 5% and recycling contamination have been 7%. So, with the biweekly green organics container collection, city leadership and solid waste staff received an influx of emails and calls from the public, and the public main concern and request is to switch the organics container from biweekly collection to weekly collection. The main concerns are they do not have enough space for their organics container because it gets full within the first week. And the other, with the raising temperatures, odors have been producing as well as pests. And another issue we have noticed is cross-contamination because whenever the organics container is full, people are taking their waste from the organics container and placing it in the recycling and in the garbage. And we also do have some residents calling us, asking us to switch the garbage container to biweekly because currently their garbage container is half full by the end of the week. And that just shows us that people are utilizing the 3-container system. So with that, we are proposing a weekly organics collection. And the city coordinated with an independent consultant with expertise in implementation of SB 1383 requirements. Based on the haulers' data, and the consultant calculated in 2022 a fee of $2.99 per month per household to have weekly organics collection. This fee is adjusted by the March 2023 CPI, which is 5.1%. So the proposed fee to switch to weekly organics is $3.14 per month per household. And I also do want to mention that the hauler submitted their estimates last year for having the green can to go weekly. Bertolatti estimate was $3.32 and Jilton was $8.39. And as I mentioned earlier, for this year, we are proposing not to adjust the base rate by according to the hauler's financials because we were unable to verify the numbers. So we are proposing to raise it by the CPI, which is 5.1%. For the Gear Road landfill fees, we are proposing to increase the fee by 66 cents, and that is to cover medication cost. And just to give you a background about Gear Road landfill, so it is a city and county jointly owned landfill. It was operated and it accepted waste from 1970 through 1990, and it was officially closed in 1995. Currently, the landfill is under abatement order from the state, and the city and county are equally responsible for paying mitigation cost. And on the next item, green waste fee. This fee includes the curbside yard waste collection, and we're proposing to adjust it by the CPI of 5.1%, which will increase the fees by 26 cents per month per household. And this is a summary of the current biweekly organics collection and the proposed rate. So the current rate for the residential accounts is $51.25, and we are proposing to go to weekly organics collection, and the rate will be $56.01, which means the adjustment is $4.76. And also, staff conducted solid waste rate survey. We surveyed all the cities represented in this graph, and as you can see, Modesto current is toward the lower end of the chart, and Modesto proposed is presented in the orange, and it's below the median. And on this slide is the total of proposed commercial maximum rate, and this is the maximum rate for 1 cubic yard per pickup. So the current rate is $64.04, and we are proposing $65.56 per 1 cubic yard. And also, we always look at ways to make sure that we are working with our residents on rate reduction and providing them with rate reduction and discount options. So the residents have the opportunity to apply for the Utility Billing Assistant Program. The discount is $35 off of the entire monthly utility bill, and I believe the finance staff will be proposing today to increase that amount to $45. And another option for our residents to save money is service sharing. Residents can share the entire service, so that includes all 3 containers with their next door neighbor. Another option we looked at is the recycling collection. Since the recycling collection is still happening bi-weekly, we worked with the haulers on switching from operating 26 weeks to operating 52 weeks, which means we will be picking up waste from areas in the city on an odd, if your address ends with the odd number, and the other half of the city will be picked up on your, if your address ends in an even number. And another option is that we will be waiving pass-through franchise fees. So as I mentioned, in an effort to keep solid waste rates low, the city elected to waive the franchise fees on pass-through fees, which means 74 cents was reduced from the residential base rate on a monthly basis, and 19 cents waived for the compost facility fee. $1.46 was reduced from the commercial base rate, and $5.66 was reduced from the drop box rate. For commercial businesses, they also have other rate reduction and discounts options. They are able to apply for waivers such as space constraints and de minimis waivers for businesses that do not produce a large amount of organic waste. And they also do have the option to do service sharing. Staff is recommending to hire a consultant to conduct the following: an in-depth audit for both haulers' financials, review and analyze current solid waste fees, identify alternative rate structure or modification to the city existing solid waste rates. And we are also proposing to amend the current haulers agreement and include performance measures. The consultant will be funded from the Solid Waste Fund, and the duration of the audit can vary between 6 to 12 months, depending on the finding. So today, we are recommending to approve all the following resolutions that you have out here. And questions?
All right, does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. In looking at your regional comparison of residential rates, I see where you include a lot of the Bay Area cities, Hayward, Oakland, San Jose, Santa Clara. But looking in our surrounding areas, why is the Modesto City garbage rate significantly higher than those local cities in our area?
So all agencies in California have to comply with the unfunded mandate SB 1383. And as shown in this slide, that our rates is actually below the median, and it's also comparable to other cities surrounding to us. So.
The city of Turlock picks up the black, green, and blue cans weekly, yet their rates are significantly lower than Modesto. Can you explain or share with us why is Modesto's rates higher, and yet Turlock is collecting all 3 cans weekly?
So Turlock chose to use $4.7 million from their ARPA funding to subsidize their solid waste rates. So this explains why they are way lower than our rates.
So they use one-time monies for ongoing expense?
They used it for from 2023, and I believe it will end in 2026.
What collection services are included in the base rate?
For collecting all 3 containers, it will be operation cost, maintenance cost, disposal, and of course staffing.
Are the bulk pickup fees included in the base rate?
It is,
They
yes.
are? They're embedded in the base rate?
Yes, and it varies depending on disposal.
And
yeah.
the bulk rate's like twice a year, correct?
Yes, each resident, if they are single family or multi-family, they do have an option for 2 free bulky item pickup a year.
Do other cities have that? Does other cities have bulk rate?
I would assume other cities do have bulk
So
rate.
other cities do have it, but Modesto's have a very generous bulky item pickup. Most cities have 1 a year, and they do have size limitation.
Can you explain to the council the long-term strategy for solid waste management and how this strategy is going to comply with SB 1383 standards by 2025?
Yeah, so our main strategy is to make sure that we are complying with all state regulations, and we are currently partnering with the county on coming up with methodologies and strategies on how to manage solid waste, not only in Modesto, but we're looking at the region as a whole.
Good. With regards to the independent audit, what is the scope of work for the independent audit?
So the auditor will be conducting an in-depth audit for both haulers' financials related to the City of Modesto. They will review current solid waste rates and methodologies, and they will also work on developing a language to amend the current language in the contracts regarding to the rates.
And just a couple more questions. You mentioned that you were using the CPI. Was that the Western CPI?
Correct.
Western Urban CPI? Okay.
Yes.
And does the City of Modesto have a policy? I didn't see it in the service agreements, but do we have a policy that we can follow where when we build a new subdivision and we bring in that subdivision into the city, what is the process by which one of the haulers is that area is designated to them? Do we have a policy or a process or a standard that we follow?
Not that I'm aware of, but we can look into it on case-by-case basis.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
I have a
All right.
question, Mayor.
Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your, all this information. A lot of numbers thrown out here today. So I'm really curious on our organic contamination levels are gone way down. And when you talk about organic, I'm assuming we're talking about the green waste, correct?
Yes, it's the green organics
So what
container.
have we done, or what is being done differently to make those organics go way down?
We have increased our outreach and education efforts. Currently, we do mail out information to every resident in Modesto about how to recycle right and how to separate their waste correctly. And we are focusing on source separation from the residents. And we also introduced Spanish to all of our outreach and education because a lot of citizens in Modesto speak Spanish, and we are also doing outreach via social media. We do Modesto View and Modesto B. So we
Okay.
have increased our outreach efforts.
Yeah, I would recommend we do a better job on our social media. Some type of a video. People, instead of reading something, sometimes people like it, just see a video. I get a lot of questions on what goes in the green, what goes in the blue. Can some of the blue go in the green, and vice versa? So there is a lot of confusion out there. So I think, really looking at a better source of information getting out to people, especially for us council members, when somebody sends us information. It'd be great for us to send them a link where they can go right on and see exactly what needs to go in each can.
Yeah, and actually, we do have 2 videos, one in English and one in Spanish, on City of Modesto Solid Waste website. And a couple days ago, we just also embedded another tool to help our residents and businesses to separate waste correctly. The tool is called Waste Wizard. So, for example, if you do not know where your cardboard goes, you can just type in cardboard, and it will tell you exactly where it's supposed to
I
go.
think it'd be good if you send that out. When you do something like that, send it out to the council members, because there's so much information out there. We don't know when something new pops up. And it'd be good if we get a personal email from staff to let us know, hey, we've got this new link for you to look at, so you can share it with your residents out there. It really helps us out a lot. My next question is on the Utility Building Assistance Program. Do we have a flyer that we send out on a regular basis on that, or do we have a video where we can send out to people? How do we get that information out?
I'm not familiar with the program as it's managed by our finance department, so maybe Deanna can talk more about it when she does her presentation,
Okay.
or Jenny.
Deanna, if you want to wait and comment on that when you do your presentation, that'd be great. But I think that's another tool too. I think a lot of people that are low income don't realize that program's out there, and we need to really make it simple for especially the elderly that has hardly any trash, to be able to apply for that and get a discount. And that's all my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Rick, or Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. The question I have is where did we get the data for the original recommendation for the every other week green can pickup?
So we conducted a survey, and that survey was posted online on the city website, and we also did social media outreach for it. Approximately 900 people responded to that survey, and the survey was posted online for 3 weeks.
Was it a scientific poll run by a polling firm?
It was done by the city.
Okay. So this is to me, this is a good example of what we all went through here, because I can't speak for my fellow council members, but I know that I got hundreds of responses, unhappy responses from residents on this recommendation. And to me, it's a pretty clear example of why using when we're doing important policies like this and other policies down the road, why using our own polling when we're not pollsters is very risky. So, thank you.
Councilmember Scudia Brayton.
Did we not consult with a consultant in that regard as well, with a recommendation on how to best proceed, whether 2 cans or 3 cans, in addition to the survey?
So the consultant had a different recommendation than the survey, but since the public responded, we followed the public request. Yes.
Okay. And also in regards to the regional comparison residential rate sheet that Councilmember Bavaro referred to, and indicating that Modesto was significantly higher than our neighborhood counterparts, I see that Stockton, Manteca, Merced, and our county neighbors are pretty much at the same levels that we are, if not a little bit higher, and all beneath the medium residential rate. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. That's fantastic. Thank you. No more questions.
Okay.
All right, back to Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add to your comment on that, Riverbank rates, this is for the last 2022-23 fiscal year. City of Riverbank rates were $35.25, Oakdale $35.15, Houston $35.02, Waterford $35.01, Ceres $34.94, Turlock $38.92, Patterson $41.83, all in Stanislaus County, Modesto $51.25. There's like about a 35% increase over other cities.
All right, any other council members with questions? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding this item 18? I do not, excuse me?
I thought someone would get up and say something. I don't know if, first of all, I don't know if this can actually be talked in this.
Okay,
However.
speak into the microphone.
So you can hear me?
Yes.
We cannot hear back there, really.
There we go. Now we can hear you, I think. Speak right into it.
Okay, number one, if I am on welfare, or better than that, if I get money from the state, legally, it is true, is it or is it not, that we cannot go through garbage cans and pick up cans out of them and get paid for them. This is something, you guys are talking about money and all. These garbage cans are gone through constantly, all over the town, every single day, all different hours because of that. And that's why garbage cans are gone through, and that's why a lot of junk is put on the ground and everything else. And I'd like to know, why is it that the people of Modesto that are on the county welfare part of any kind are not told that they legally cannot get paid by the state and not turn it in? I've been told by lots of people they can do anything they want in going through any of those garbage cans. Garbage cans are constantly ruined, and when it's raining, they open them up by driving cars down through there, and that right there ruins the cans. And when they state put all those different things in them, why is it? We always put everything, we had 2 cans. Why is it we have to separate everything? This is ridiculous, downright ridiculous the way we're doing it. So I'd like to know, legally, can people on welfare be paid for going through those cans and all? And I want to know if anyone here can't say anything about it. I'd like the city to check into that and find out the truth on it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Maybe you can get her information and then we'll try to answer those questions. All right?
And
if you want to come to the podium, Rosine, if you want to address the question about going through the recyclables and such.
So all residents and businesses can actually take their recycling and redeem it as at a buyback center.
Okay.
They can redeem it at a buyback center that is permitted by Car Recycle. So we do allow that.
Okay, great, thank you. Maybe, Loretta, why don't you just share information and the rest of the questions can be answered at a future time?
Then I'll get it.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public in person? I do not see anyone online. Teresa Gamboa?
Good evening, Mayors Wallen, City Council, City Manager, City Attorney, staff, and members of the public. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this item. I'm really glad that the green totes will be picked up weekly again. It should never have been a bi-weekly service. I'm disappointed that we're faced with yet another rate increase to get something that should have been provided on a weekly basis. We're in a high inflation market right now. People are struggling just to get by. The gas tax is scheduled to go up 8% this Saturday, driving inflation up even further. And you have a water rate increase coming up. And with this increase, it really hurts family budgets. I'm glad to hear about the discount because for myself, I generate very little. Tomorrow is my pickup day, and I'm not going to set my blue can or my black can out because I don't have enough to warrant setting it out. What happens when we have increases like this, people use less, and they usually use less outside water to offset the cost. That results in dead and dry landscaping, foxtail lawns, cars parked on what used to be grass, and just a degradation of our neighborhoods. There are more yards like this every time there is an increase in the city bill. It's noticeable. So I hope that you'll consider that as you discuss future rate increases. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 18? I do not see anyone in person. George Partridge online.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members and all present. My question to the personnel that did the study is whether or not green containers could have been picked up weekly during the summer and bi-weekly during the winter, which would have been a contracting nightmare, no doubt. But my black canister is pretty much empty. Once we started this intensive 3-can system, the black can and the blue cans are literally 2 little bags. But the green, unfortunately, because of the lawns, we're a city of trees, and we must keep them maintained along with our lawns. And we may get a full bag of wet recyclable materials or paper, but the can fills up predominantly with green material. Now, to keep a can for 2 weeks with green material just ends up to be a mess, very wet. And so it was just a question as to whether or not what types, perhaps, of ideas were thought into the 3-can system, as to whether or not there were a number of people brainstorming for different ideas. Like I said, perhaps a summer program and a different winter program. Thank you again for listening to me.
Thank you for calling in. We will have a response.
So I just want to mention that in the winter season, we do have curbside leaf collection. And with the auditor that we're proposing to hire, we can look at other options for a 3-container collection.
All right, thank you. All right, any other public comments? I do not see anyone in person, and confirming there is no one online. So I will close public comments and ask council members for comments. Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the fact that we are considering an independent audit in order to take a closer look at our residential, commercial, and industrial ratepayers being charged and to verify that those costs are correct. It is important that we ensure that we are getting an accurate rate for our residential, commercial, and industrial ratepayers. Aside from the independent audit, I think there is room to improve our service agreement with our 2 haulers, Jilton Solid Waste and Bertolotti Disposal. Specifically, I think there are areas in the solid waste service agreements that can be improved that would subsequently benefit our ratepayers. The last amendments to the garbage service agreements were December 18th, 2006 with Jilton and December 5th, 2007 with Bertolotti. I will be voting in support of both the rate increase and the independent audit. However, my expectations is that the solid waste haulers and the city staff are going to be meeting to discuss the garbage service agreements along with the independent audit findings and come back to the council with recommendations and possible amendments to the service agreement. I plan to follow these closely and expect this to happen within the next 6 months and certainly no later than year-end 2023. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other comments from council members? I have 2 brief comments. What I have done in my home to assure that I follow the guidelines, I would agree that it can be confusing at times as to what goes in each container, but every flyer that we have received, either in the mail or at our door or through our websites, I have taped onto my kitchen wall, right above where my garbage cans are. We have the different cans in our kitchen and laundry room, so I suggest that. For anyone, if that's difficult, the pictures describe what goes into each can. And so far, hopefully, at least I hope that's working well for us. So I encourage everyone to do that if it's confusing. I feel that we are being responsive to the residents, at least to those who have contacted us, which has been many, mostly by email, certainly expressing that they would like the can picked up weekly. We will never precisely meet the needs of each resident. It is nearly impossible to do that, but I feel like we are responsive in this regard. People joke often that government works slowly, yet we have analyzed this and are making changes already. So that's not to say that things cannot change again if they need to, but I'm thinking that we are moving ahead and feel like we're being responsive to the residents. Thank you. Any other comments from council members? Seeing none, bear with me. I have a resolution approving the annual rate adjustment to the maximum rate schedule for city solid waste collection services provided by the solid waste haulers for an increase of $4.76 per month for residential services with weekly green organics container collection, an increase of $1.52 per cubic yard for commercial services, and an increase of $36.82 per pull for industrial services to become effective August 1st, 2023, and rescinding resolution number 2022-276 for the July 1st, 2022 annual rate adjustment. A resolution approving a quarterly fuel rate adjustment to the maximum rate schedule for city solid waste collection services provided by the haulers for an adjustment of 4 cents per month for residential services and an adjustment of 8 cents per cubic yard for commercial services to become effective August 1st, 2023, and rescinding resolution number 2022-277 for the July 1st, 2022 annual rate adjustment, and a resolution approving an agreement with HF&F Consultants LLC to conduct an audit and performance review for the solid waste haulers to analyze the current rate-setting methodology and test it for validity and develop new rates methodology for a total amount not to exceed $150,000, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Bavaro, seconded by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye, so it carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is unfinished business, item 19. Consider approving the water system engineer's report prepared by West Yost as complete. The water rate study prepared by Bartle Wells Associates is complete, and authorizing staff to initiate the Proposition 218 process to adjust the city's water rates beginning in fiscal year 2023-24 through fiscal year 2027-28. And we will have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm Will Wong, Director of Utilities. And tonight, I will be bringing up a water rates update. With me tonight, I have Jeff Daniels, Water Division Manager, as well as Eric Helgeson, our rate consultant who prepared the rate study. So to give a quick overview of the water enterprise, the City of Modesto does own the water system in Modesto. We're responsible to provide clean drinking water to all our customers within the contiguous Modesto and the outlying areas. We are a financially self-supporting enterprise, meaning that our main source of revenue for the water system is through water rates. We do set water rates at levels to fund the entire service of providing water to all our customers, and we strive to provide the most reasonable water rates established for all our customers. Over the years, we have raised rates to ensure that we have good financial standing in terms of our water enterprise to address any emergencies, but with financial challenges that are coming, we will require to have some modest rate increases. So current financial snapshot of the water enterprise, we are AA rated, which means we carry a healthy reserves. Again, this is necessary for us to address any shortcomings or any emergencies that could happen with the water system. Since the last rate study, we've completed 29 projects that are worth over $77 million. We currently have $33 million of 7 projects of $33 million in construction right now, with another $57 million of projects that are currently in design. We are projecting from our capital needs that we had through our engineers report that was done by West Yost, as well as the engineering, as well as the rate study prepared by Water Wells to look at our capital needs. We are recommending to look at the full capital improvement program of $185 million with potential looking at an AMI project in the future. This map shows you the current projects that we currently have in construction. We have about 7 projects worth about $33 million. We anticipate over the next 10 years to have over $240 million worth of projects. These projects range from wellhead treatment as well as repairing deficient water lines. There's a lot of deficient older systems that we do address, and you'll see the majority of projects are in District 2 and District 4. The reason is because these are part of the older areas that we acquired from the old Del Este Water Company, and we're progressively improving the water system there to upsize the water mains as well as repair any leaks that we have in those areas. While we can appreciate water rates are very difficult to raise, for our customers. We have a very aggressive staff who pursues as many grants and cost-effective loans as we can. I will point out that we have been very successful in receiving grants. We received a $1 million grant for the community of Empire, so we'll be constructing some wellhead treatment and a flush line. We're actually in the process of also acquiring some property from the county to do that project. More recently, we did receive notice of getting funding for $8.4 million of doing a groundwater study project, as well as about $3.4 million to upsize and improve the community of the Riverdale water system, which will then, the city will annex at a later date. Recently, about 3 weeks ago, we received notice of receiving an urban community drought relief grant of $3.2 million, of which Parks will receive about $2.2 million of that, and our water division will receive about $800,000 of that for turf replacement. So why are water rates necessary? Well, water rates, we have to meet the cost of compliance for all public water systems. We want to protect the public health and deliver safe, reliable, and clean, sustainable drinking water for both existing and future customers. We also have to raise rates for the cost of service. Our operational and maintenance costs for the system, chemicals, staffing, electricity, all have gone up. So we also have to pass that on to the customers. We also have to pump groundwater and treatment for that groundwater to ensure that we meet all state and federal standards. The cost for treated surface water has gone up, so we have to also account for that. And we also have to meet state mandated water-related studies and planning documents. Water rates are also necessary for construction of projects. As I mentioned before, the water fund is a self-sustaining enterprise relying on water rates to construct new wells and replace deficient wells. We are replacing leaky and undersized deficient water mains, constructing new water mains, wellhead treatment if we need it. So we do have 77 wells that we currently operate, and groundwater, depending on the areas, needs some treatment in order to meet all the health standards that are required to meet. We also are looking at technology improvements to improve data collection and meeting state watering mandates, as well as required state reports and water quality studies that we continually have to perform. Lastly, rates are necessary for us to meet our financial policies and maintaining at least a 25% operational reserves. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Eric Helgeson, who will walk us through the rate setting process.
Thank you, Will. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Eric Helgeson. I'm the project manager with Bartle Wells Associates who worked on this rate study. The overall objectives for the study are the primary objective is we want to make sure that the rates are legally compliant. A lot of this is complying with Prop 218. We also want to make sure the rates are sufficient, so the revenues are sufficient to fund all the identified operating and capital needs of the enterprise. We also want to make sure the rates are aligned with city objectives. A big part of this is balancing conservation incentives with revenue stability and how the rates are designed. And finally, keeping a customer focus, trying to have rate increases that are smooth and predictable that customers can anticipate, as well as maintaining continuity with prior rate structures. So to comply with Prop 218, there are substantive requirements, and these consist of rates cannot exceed the cost of service, and also rates must be proportionate to the benefit provided. So this is a key part of how we perform our rate study. And there are also substantive requirements, which is why we're here tonight, that we must send out a notice to all affected customers and property owners at least 45 days before holding a public hearing. And the notice must contain the maximum rates that the council can adopt. The council doesn't have to adopt those rates, but those are the maximum rates that the council can adopt. And so those notices go out. And then if a majority of customers submit protests, then the rates that are noticed cannot go forward.
Say that again, please.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So the notices that go out contain the maximum rates that the council can adopt. If a majority of customers submit protests, protesting those noticed rates, then the rates that are noticed cannot go forward. So, but if less than a majority submit protests, then the council can go forward and adopt the rates that were noticed. Sorry about that. So the overall process of the study consists of gathering the data, developing a long-term financial plan, and this is where we identify the total revenue that needs to come from rates, and this ensures the revenue sufficiency. We then perform allocation of that revenue requirement based on how the costs are incurred, and this assures compliance with the proportionality requirement of Prop 218. And then we turn that into the rates, and that balance and with the rate design, we balance the objectives of conservation incentives and revenue sufficiency. And where we are at right now is coming to the Prop 218 procedures. Previously, the city had to catch up the revenues, and after several years of not having rate increases to keep up with inflation, there had to be a 25% rate increase in 2016-17. Now that the city is caught up, we're looking at 3 different scenarios of even rate increases. We looked at a scenario with a lower capital, so we looked at a low capital scenario, and this could be cash financed with 4.5% rate increases annually. And then we looked at a higher capital scenario, and with debt, that could also be financed with 4.5% rate revenue increases. But without debt, it would need 6.5% rate increases to cash fund that scenario. So the recommendation is to go with scenario 2, where the rates are based on the full capital scenario. But if the city doesn't get as grant funding, or if it doesn't get lower cost financing, you could still finance it with traditional bonds at 4.5% and have that option to have the full CIP plan. So this slide here shows a graphic depiction of the projected cash flow for the water enterprise. The columns are the total expense incurred every year, which consists of your operating costs, your debt service, and your rate-funded capital. So it's your total cash expenses. The green line is your revenues that we're projecting you'll have every year. So those will keep pace with your expenses. And then the dotted black line are your reserves. So you currently have accumulated some reserves, largely due to COVID and staffing shortages. And so our plan is to utilize those reserves first. And then once reserves are drawn down to what we feel is a level that you should stabilize at, then go ahead and utilize debt service if you need to, debt if you need to accomplish those remaining capital projects. Finally, we also developed drought rates, which will recover the necessary revenues if you are facing water cutbacks. And these rates are set to recover their net of the reduction in volumetric costs, but also the reduction in volumetric sales, so that you will still theoretically maintain your revenue stream even with and be able to fund your necessary operating capital projects if you have a reduction in revenues due to drought. And drought rates would be linked to state mandated cutbacks. So the rates we're proposing are on the volumetric side, going from $2.02 to $2.11 in this coming fiscal year. If there was a drought that was put into place, the drought rate would be $2.45 for the volumetric rate. And on the fixed side, 1-inch meter would go from $36.83 to $38.55. And those rates reflect that 4.5% overall revenue increase needed. And I'm going to turn it back to Will to discuss the bill impacts.
Thank you, Eric. So our water bill is made up of two parts. Eric mentioned back in the previous slide, there is a fixed cost, which is based on a meter size of a customer. So a typical residential customer has a 1-inch water meter. And then the volumetric rate of the proposed $2.11 will be based on a certain amount of water that a customer uses. What a fixed rate pays for is for administration. So it pays for administration, cost of customer service and billing, as well as debt service and some capital improvement projects. So those are what we call our fixed costs. Our variable cost is based on the amount of water being used by a customer. So you saw the picture of this water bottle. So we're trying to relate this to how much water a customer gets per year, per month. So what we're looking at is an increase from $2.02 to $2.11. With that amount of money for $2.11, you get 100 cubic feet of water, which is 748 gallons of water. What that equates to in comparison to this water bottle here is 3 pallets of water. Each pallet holds about 1,800 bottles of water, so you get about 5,600 bottles of water for $2.11. Okay. An average household uses about 15 units of water, so essentially 45 of these pallets equivalencies of how much an average household uses, which is about 11,220 gallons of water, which is equivalent to 45 pallets of water, or over 2,244 5-gallon jugs. So that's how much water an average household uses. Now, these rates are set up so that there's cost benefits if you conserve water. So typically, what does this water rate impact? How does it affect our normal customers? Well, based on 1,500 cubic feet a month, you're going from a bill of $67.13 to $70.20, which is about $3, on average, a $3.07 increase. Like I mentioned before, the rates are geared to help conservation. So if folks do reduce the water, they can actually reduce this amount. So they may not need to pay $70.20 if based on the amount of water they use. Now, Ms. Gamboa did bring up an issue regarding when water rates are increased, people cut back. But I will also point out that the City of Modesto offers conservation rebates and programs, and we also do what we call water-wise consultations for free. So there are a lot of programs that we can introduce to Ms. Gamboa and her neighbors if they're interested in looking at opportunities to conserve water and also save money. Deanna Christensen will be also talking about the utility billing assistance program. A little bit was talked about from Rosine Nguyen before, but we're also looking to increase that amount from $35 to $45 a month. So in comparison to other is where City of Modesto is right now at $67.13, projected at 15 units of water. Whereas we City of Modesto, we sit at $70.20 if with this proposed increase. We're still in the middle of the pack compared to a lot of comparable cities surrounding us. And I will also say that we do have probably one of the best and most reliable water systems out there because we have conjunctive use where we have surface water and groundwater. So we do have 2 sources of water, and part of this water rates that they're paying for is the reliability of both those water systems. Any change to rates will have significant impacts to customers, so it's very important for us to communicate and do a lot of outreach. We're going to be continue working with Slate Communications, our contractor, as well with Community Relations and Legislative Affairs, Andrew's team out there. We will continue to work on outreach. We actually have been doing some social media posts just to leading up to today as well too, and we'll continue doing so up until the public hearing on August 22nd. So next steps, as Eric pointed out, should council do approve this, we will create and send out a Proposition 218 notice, which is giving directions to folks who want to protest. Essentially, they need to send a letter in to City Hall with their name and their address and their signature. And we are sending it to both property owners as well as customers. We will have a 45-day protest period, and as I mentioned, the public hearing will be on August 22nd, where we'll tabulate the amount of protests that we did receive. So today is the water rate presentation. We will be, there's a slight correction, we'll be issuing the notices by July 6th, which still gives us 45 days ahead of the public hearing on August 22nd, and we're proposing that the rates be implemented effective October 1st. So with that, staff is asking council to approve both the engineer's report prepared by West Jose, as well as a water rate and fee study prepared by Barter Wells, and authorizing city staff to initiate the Proposition 218 process to adjust the water rates effective October 1st, 2023 through fiscal year 27-28. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, does council have any questions of staff? Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. Will, we just invested, I think, over $5 million in a Del Rio, I don't know, new water stuff. But that's not part of the City of Modesto. Do they pay the same rates as Modestans?
Yes, they do. So the City of Modesto did acquire the former Del Este Water Company back in 1995. Del Este, along with the community of Empire, Grayson, Waterford, Hickman, parts of Ceres, and Turlock came with the Del Este water system. So over the years, we did have 3 separate zones, but for simplicity, as well as ensuring that we did provide service for both Del Rio, and then you have on one side Del Rio and the other side the community of Grayson. We made it one equal water system.
Okay. What was our last 218 request, and what was its purpose?
The last Proposition 218 process what we had was back in 2016, and for water rates.
Okay. And I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just an observation on the garbage rates. Many of the local cities were coming in lower than Modesto. On the water rates, Turlock, Stockton, Lathrop, Ceres are way higher. I mean, $90 a month for Ceres, so I guess there wasn't enough ARPA monies.
Any other council members with questions? All right, we will open to the public. Any members of the public that would like to come forward and speak regarding item 19? This is item 19. I do not see anyone in person. I see Jenny online. Looks like you're on mute, Jenny.
Okay. There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just, I feel I'm a person on fixed income, and I realize every little, amount of money affects you, but it's like our household costs go up, so does the city costs, and unfortunately, we have to bear the brunt of that, and there are programs to help. But my question is, I heard you say, I think, that if the majority of objections you get are against then you won't go forward with it. Now, does this mean the majority of those that respond, or is it a majority of the number of customers? Do you see what I mean?
Yes, so the letter that we'll be issuing, should council approve this item, will go out to all our water customers. And that's about 76,000 customers. So we would need to receive about 37,000 protest letters. So this is under Proposition 218. This gives the public, the ratepayer, an opportunity to protest the increase of water rates. So as these letters come in, we'll be working with the city clerk on ensuring that we tally up the protest letters accordingly, and we'll report back on August 22nd.
Thank you very much. I think that maybe that'll encourage people, if they have an objection, to answer these letters. But I do understand everything, the costs go up, and it's very sad. But it's necessary if they want our city to run well and to have good water. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 19? I do not see anyone in person, confirming no one else online. All right, I will close public comments and ask council members for comments. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, one quick question. If you get if we did get 37,000 protests, what cuts would we have to make to our water?
We would be more reactive than proactive. One of the things that we've appreciated over the years is the city sacrifice and the city support on raising rates. And with that, we've been able to be more proactive in addressing some of the more regulatory issues and challenges that we have in dealing with water. So if we were to have this not go through, then we would have to readjust our capital program and then probably be go to more of a reactive mode rather than a proactive mode. So less replacement of long pipelines in neighborhoods and just fixing leaks.
All right, Vice Mayor Ricky.
My comment is just simply, we've been raising rates. We just raised garbage rates again tonight. I just think raising water rates right now is kind of tone deaf when it comes to the challenges of our community right now. I think we could probably make it through another year, give people a chance to adjust to the higher garbage rates and the other rates that we're raising. So I just think it's a lot of shock right now in terms of the rates that we're raising. We just raised sales tax also, so it's just like a lot of things got raised. I think this is just one step too far.
All right, any other council members that would like to make comments? All right, I have a resolution approving the water engineer's report prepared by West Yost Associates as complete, and a resolution approving the water rate and fee study prepared by Bartle Wells Associates as complete, and a resolution authorizing staff to initiate a Prop 218 process to adjust the city's water rates to be effective October 1st, 2023 through fiscal year 2027-28. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item, item 19?
I need a motion in a second.
Oh, sorry, that's exactly what I need. A motion in a second.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Bavaro.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
No.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye, so the motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business, item 20. Consider accepting an update on available funding for the Utility Billing Assistance Program with an increase to the monthly discount amount and approving 2 new utility billing discount programs for customers who enroll in auto pay and paperless billing for their City of Modesto utility bill. And we will have a staff report. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Deanna Christensen, Director of Finance. So the Finance Department is very pleased to provide a proposal to increase our current utility billing assistance program, as well as an introduction of a new utility discount program to further hopefully enroll customers in our auto pay and e-billing. So I'd like to introduce Jenny Martin, our Revenue Collection Manager, to give an overview.
Good evening. So tonight we have an update to present on our utility billing assistance program, and we're also introducing 2 new discount programs that we think will be of benefit to our customers. So first, we will be reviewing a funding update to our utility billing assistance program. The city offers a utility billing assistance program for all of our low-income customers. To be eligible, you just need to be enrolled in another qualified public assistance program and be a responsible party on the City of Modesto utility account. Customers can apply from the program online, in person, or by mailing in their application, including proof of enrollment in another qualified program, a photo ID, and a copy of their City of Modesto bill. What is the need in our community? Well, since our assistance programs were first implemented in 2007, the highest enrollment that we had was about 692 customers in December of 2019. Then between December 2019 and December 2022, we grew to over 2,000 customers enrolled. We're continuing to see that number increase, and we estimate we could have as many as 3,500 customers enrolled by the end of this fiscal year. In 2020, the average monthly utility bill was $143. Now, that average bill is about $163 a month, an increase of about $20 over those past 3 years, with more rate increases coming tonight, like we discussed for water and garbage. So right now, with the average bill at $163 a month, that discount of $35 can reduce the bill down to about $128. This program is funded by miscellaneous late charges and penalties. Projected revenues to fund the program in fiscal year 23 are $2.6 million. The average cost of funding the program over the last 3 years has been about $736,000. And based on our estimates for this fiscal year, the cost could be as high as $1.4 million, leaving about $1.2 million in available funding that's going unused in the current fiscal year. So if we were to raise the amount of the monthly discount from $35 to $45 a month, starting next fiscal year, we would still have about $313,000 in remaining funds, and that is with a substantial estimated increase in enrollment. So assuming there will be possible rate increases coming this year still, we estimate the average utility bill could be as high as $176 a month. Raising the monthly discount to $45 a month would help bring that bill down to about $131. And this monthly increase will provide real assistance to our low-income customers and help to counteract these rising costs of utility service. So based on available funding, we are proposing to increase the amount of the monthly discount from $35 a month to $45 a month to help our low-income customers. Next, I'd like to introduce 2 new discount programs for our utility customers. So when a customer, I'm just going to give a little background first about where this is coming from. So when a customer enrolls in AutoPay, they agree to have the balance of their utility bill drafted each month on the due date of their bill. They have the option to choose to have it drafted from a checking or savings account or credit card. When a customer enrolls in paperless billing, they agree to receive their utility bill via email rather than having a paper bill mailed to them, and the email contains their balance due, the due date, and a link to view or pay their bill online. So there are benefits for both the customer and the city when a customer is enrolled in either of these programs. When a customer is enrolled in AutoPay, they have peace of mind knowing their account will be paid on time each month, and they don't have to worry about mailing their payment, coming into the office, going online, or calling to pay by phone. The customer can enroll, again, like I said, using a checking or savings account or a credit card through a secure PCI-compliant online payment system, and in turn, the city receives on-time and guaranteed payments. When a customer is enrolled in paperless billing, they receive their bill via email, so it's always accessible to them wherever they are. The email includes the balance due again and the due date with a link to our online portal to view the detail of their charges or make a payment. There's less waste, so that's better for the environment, and the city has a savings of about $127,000 $127,000 annually in printing and postage costs. So during the budget workshops in April, the committee inquired about our auto pay and paperless billing programs, and some of the questions they asked were, how can we encourage enrollment in these programs? Can we offer a discount, and if we can, how much? Would it be a one-time discount or recurring, and what funds can we use to support the program? So we set about to do some research and see what might be possible. So based on our research with the City Attorney's Office and a review of available funding, we came up with this proposal before you today. A one-time discount of $10 when you enroll in auto pay or paperless billing. The customer does have the ability to sign up for both of those programs for a total of $20 one-time discount. The customer would be required to stay enrolled for a minimum of 6 months. Customers that are already enrolled would not be eligible. The discount would be applied within 2 billing cycles of enrollment, and if approved, it would begin July 1st, 2023, and we would come back and do a review of that in about 6 months to determine if we need to update anything about the program, like the amounts, the recurring, the one-time, or what results we're getting from it. So the funding for the program would come from our miscellaneous late charge and penalty revenues. This is the same funding used for the utility billing assistance program. No revenue from rates will be used to pay for this discount. For fiscal year 24, we are projecting revenues of about $2.6 million for this fund. About 2.3 of that will be used for the utility billing assistance program, so we would still have around $313,000 available to use for these 2 new programs, with the annual estimated cost at about $30,000 based on growth of 10% per year. So our goal is to use this program to grow enrollment in these 2 programs again by 10% each year. As of the end of March, we had about 16,000 customers enrolled in auto pay and about 14,000 enrolled in paperless billing. Based on our goal of 10% growth each fiscal year, we estimate the annual cost to be about $30,000. And we do have a plan to create an improved, robust outreach program where we'll be doing short videos through social media, radio ads, through our City Beat newsletter, school district newsletters, printed ads at city facilities, bench ads, bus ads, and then bill inserts. So our recommendation today is a resolution approving an update on the available funding for the utility billing assistance program with an increase from $35 to $45 per month, and approving the 2 new utility billing discount programs for customers who enroll in auto pay and paperless billing. And with that, I am available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for that report. Does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you for your report. Can you go through the process on how a person qualifies for the discount, for the low-income discount? What do we have? Is there a form that we fill out or what?
Yes, they can do a paper form, which they can get in our office through CVOC, or we can mail it to them, or they can also go online to do it. All they're required to do is show proof that they're enrolled in one of the other general assistance programs, so they can just show a letter or anything that shows proof of enrollment, and then a copy of their utility bill, and they just need to be the utility account, on the utility account itself.
Okay, so if they're not enrolled in one of the other programs, do we give them information on how they can enroll in the other programs that help them?
Yes, we do. On our city website page where you can do the online application, we have links to all of those other eligible programs that take them to those web pages to find out how to get qualified.
Okay, and for our senior citizens that might be on real low income or they might not be computer savage, do we have any type of program where they can come into the office and we can sit down with staff and help them through the process?
Yeah, we can definitely do that, and we do that when some customers come in. We also try to do outreach programs at places where the seniors might be, so like different city events. We go to the senior center and do public outreach events where we'll have like an open day where you can come in for so many hours and we'll help you with your application process.
That's great. I think that'd be something to really get out to the community, especially as a senior citizen groups and this type of things, to let them know, to help them. Because I think our seniors are the ones that are really hit hard on these increases. They're on fixed income, a lot of them just on Social Security, and their rent's going up, their water bill's going up, garbage bill's going up, and electric, is going up. So We don't need to see more seniors that are homeless. We need to do everything we can to keep them in their home.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members? Seeing none, I'll ask members of the public to come forward if there's anyone in person regarding item 20.
Loretta Cart, yes, there's one thing on this, and that is on this billing. It states Utility Billing Assistant Program, discount, automatic pay, and payless. Okay, or paperless, I'm sorry. Anyway, if we just make payments, in other words, we do not get that extra $10. Is that right or wrong? Crazy question.
I was just going to say, I'm not
sure I
I
understand
understand the question. So if you get a City of Modesto utility bill,
Can you speak into the microphone to the response and you can speak to us?
Thank you.
So if you have a City of Modesto utility bill, you're eligible to enroll in any of these three programs.
But, no, if I do not have, if I come in and make payments every month, will I still get the $10?
No, you would have to actually sign up for auto pay, which would mean you'd sign up to have the bill drafted automatically, so you wouldn't come in.
Is the bill on these the same every single month all year long?
No, depending on your water usage, it can go up and
Then
down.
that is ridiculous, because some of us definitely keep billing, and yes, I've got my bill from it, for the phone company, for instance, way back in 2018. And I'm having an argument with them because of it. And that's why lots of us will notice it. And if we don't know we've got to pay $5 or 50 cents even, some of us will raise Cain on it. Thank you.
All right, any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 20? Jenny online.
Yes. I'm wondering if you live in, excuse my voice, if you live in a mobile home park, your utility bills is included in your rent. Do we know how they adjust? I mean, are they charged according to how much the whole park uses? Or how is that factored into the bill, or do you know?
All right, would you be able to answer that tonight?
Will might be better suited to it, but I can help.
Hi, Jenny, this is Will. So I do think that depending on the mobile home park, if the mobile home park receives that bill themselves, then and they divvy it up between the tenants there, I don't think that counts unless the owner does apply for this utility billing assistance program to show that they do have potentially low-income residents there.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, my utility bill is always the same. It never fluctuates, showing more or less use in the water. I guess I'll get in touch with the people that run the park and find out what they're doing, because some of us in the park don't use as much water as others, but we're all getting probably charged the same. So I guess I'll have to get in touch with the people that own the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing no one in person, is there anyone else online confirming? No one online? I'll close public comments. I'll ask council for comments. Councilmember Scooty Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. This utility billing assistance program is wonderful, and I really appreciate how you all have really been attentive and listened to the needs and made the utmost accommodations to try to make it work for as many people as possible. I, for one, have a lot of seniors in my district, and a few of them have reached out to me One recently was complaining about the increase in the utility bill, and we had a conversation where I shared with him upcoming utility rate increases, and that was not a lovely conversation, but nevertheless, we had that. So I shared with him the utility billing assistance program, and at the time, we did not have the direct links to all the various other qualifying programs such as CARES, CalWorks, SSI, Medi-Cal, and so on and so forth. But like I said earlier, you've listened to how to improve this program. You've added those links to our website, making it easier for the consumer to go to our website and just click on the respective other program to see whether you are part of that and obtain proof of that enrollment and provide it to the city so that you can participate in our billing assistance program. When I walked this constituent through this process, we took his utility bill as it was, and it was high, and then we applied the potentially upcoming rates that made it even higher, but then also applied the 45 anticipated discount rate, and at the end of that bill, that monthly bill was lower, even with the increased rates, than it was before with the assistance of this new billing assistance program. So it really works. Again, with the billing assistance programs, even though we added the upcoming rates that were just approved, the bill was lower than it was even pre-rate increase. So thank you for this program and making it as easy as possible, and for you all being adaptable to making it work. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from council members? Seeing none, I have a resolution approving an update on available funding for the utility billing assistance program with an increase to the monthly discount amount from $35 to $45, and a resolution approving 2 new utility billing discount programs for customers who enroll in auto pay and paperless billing for their City of Modesto utility bill. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Scudia Brayton, second by by David Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 21. Consider approving a successor memorandum of understanding between the City of Modesto and the Modesto City Police Officers Association for a term of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2027, granting salary changes and benefit offerings to unrepresented sworn police management, and amending the fiscal year 2023-24 operating budget. All right, we'll have a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christina Alger, Director of Human Resources. Right, so just a little bit of background on the Modesto Police Officers Association. The profession of policing has become increasingly difficult. Those that choose to become a police officer are faced with a higher level of community expectation. In addition, they are faced with increasingly dangerous situations and must make difficult split decisions. Due to these factors and others, the number of qualified candidates has seen a decline. This creates an environment where local government agencies compete for the same talent. Many agencies have instituted higher salaries and large hiring incentives to entice officers to come work for them. The recruitment and retention challenges are real. The city has experienced increasing vacancy rates due to losing officers to neighboring agencies. This, coupled with the city's budget constraints, has compounded this effect. So just a little bit of data to support those statements. What you're seeing here is our vacancy rate history. And so what a vacancy rate history is the number of vacancies we have compared to the number of positions we have available within the department. You will notice that in the early teens, the vacancy rates were pretty low. They began to increase in 2017-18, and that mainly is due to the fact that we added 20 positions in that year. Over the years after that, we hit the pandemic, and with that, we froze some positions, and so that's why you see that percentage go down. But you can see in the last couple of years the large increase in vacancies. So this is the number of positions that were vacant over those same years. And so you can see a large number of vacancies over several of these years. And this definitely impacts the level of service that we can provide. And just a little information about reasons for separations. And so you can see that a good chunk of our separations are really resignations. And so 54% of all of those that left the city left due to resigning, and that typically means that they go to another agency. You will see about 23% due to retirement, but the large majority are resignations. This slide shows the labor market summary, and so part of the negotiations process is looking at the labor market, comparing ourselves to our comparable agencies, and seeing kind of where we fall within that. And so for Modesto Police Officers Association specifically, you can see that they were 5.5% below market for a base wage and 6.6 below market for total compensation, which includes benefits. So our residents rely on the city to provide safety to its citizens. Lack of staffing has negatively impacted the services that we aim to provide. Additionally, low staffing levels create employees who are overworked, which impacts their ability to make good decisions under pressure. In order to provide the level of service that our community deserves, it is imperative that we are competitive and build our staff levels. Retaining those who have knowledge and experience is detrimental to providing training and guidance to those joining the force. So this chart specifically gives you a little bit of data on service delivery. And so calls for service over the last couple of years, the time that it's taken to respond to these calls has increased by 5%. And the workloads have increased over the last couple of years. And so you can see a number of total calls for 2021 and 22, the number of officers that we actually had on staff during those periods of time, and the calls per officer on an annual basis. And so you can see they are responding to well over 2,000 calls each. That transpires to be about 12 calls per day per officer. They typically work a 4-11 shift, and so that's more than one call per hour that they have to respond to. So our new contracts, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what we're bringing forward tonight. So the current contract for MPOA expires June 30th, 2023. We are proposing a new term of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2027. And what this new contract includes are increases in items such as wages, a market, looking at the market and how we compare to that, retention incentive enhancements, and healthcare and other benefits. Also, just to be noted that unrepresented sworn management and executives are consistent with MPOA in certain categories, and we'll talk about which ones, and that's really to avoid compaction. So this particular slide shows the benefits that we are proposing to bring forward for MPOA and unrepresented sworn management and executives. So this applies to both groups. And so for wage, we're looking at a 5%, a 5%, a 3%, and a 4%. I will note that we have a 3% from the previous MOU that is being included in this item if council approves. We have the salary schedule, so adding a step in year 3, and this is consistent with what we've done with the other units. A 5% hard-to-fill adjustment. This is actually embedded in the wages that you see above. An additional 1% per level on their post, and so that is for retention of our more tenured officers. An increase in the city contribution to health insurance, and that's due to the increases in health that we recognize. An increase in retiree health savings account, and the addition of 2 holidays. So other items that are applicable to only the MPOA, so not to the executives and management unrepresented. I have these separated into 3 different categories: recruitment, retention, and operations. And so we are looking at adding things to enhance recruitment, such as wellness, enhancing their wellness program, offering the education incentive to police officers. Currently, our police management and executives already get this benefit, and so we are proposing to extend that to the officers. Under retention, it's enhancing our master police officer program, and that's to entice our tenured officers to continue to stay with us, and enhancing the deferred compensation for our management, our represented management police. And then under operations, we have several different items that we're enhancing to ensure that the operations of the organization continue to be strong. So the fiscal impact of this, the first year of the agreement is $3,991,181. This would come from the General Fund, the Traffic Safety Fund, and the American Rescue Plan Act Fund. And this includes MPOA bargaining unit as well as unrepresented sworn police management and executives. The full impact of the full 4-year agreement would be $31,723,450. So the staff recommendation tonight this is again a summary of the 3 resolutions that we have before you. Staff recommends approving an agreement with MPOA for a term of July 1st through 2023 through June 30th of 2027, as described in the tentative agreement that's attached to this item, and approving salary and benefit changes to unrepresented sworn police management and executives as described in the staff report. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll open this up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 21? I do not see anyone in person, and online I see Jenny.
I just have a comment. Having sat in on listening to a lot of contract, I just want to say kudos to you for getting a 4-year contract. I don't know how many people realize how important that is. So very good. Congratulations.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll close public comments. Are there any comments from council members? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank staff for really working hard on this. It's important that we hire quality police officers. And in this marketplace, especially in California, it's hard to find people that want to be police officers with the pressures that they have on a daily basis. And hopefully this will give us the funds that we can get the cream of the crop in police officers that understand how important life is, how they know the importance of treating people with respect. And I know a lot of our officers, or if not all of our officers, do a great job now, but we do need to increase our police force. So, we're down, I think 2006 we had close to 300. Now we're down to about 190, give or take a few there. So, and our population have the increase. So demands on our officers are greater today than they were, 15, 20 years ago. So hopefully this will give us a boost that we need to get more patrol out there, especially on traffic patrol. I know that's one of the biggest areas that I hear from my constituents is traffic control. And so my hat's off to staff and for this council for working hard to make this a better city. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Dittos to you, Councilman Wright. Spot on. This is one of the major reasons why 62% of the people of Modesto supported Measure H, and that was to support those who support our communities. Police officers, law enforcement, do not go into that profession to get rich. They go into that profession to serve their community, and it takes a special calling to do what they do. we need to be competitive with all other local communities and be able to give those raises so they will, the police officers will stay with our city. So I'm in great support of this and look forward to voting for this. Thank you.
Thank you. I just noticed another hand raised, so we will go back to Teresa Gamboa.
Thank you, Mayor Wallen. I couldn't get my phone to cooperate to raise my hand earlier, so thank you for recognizing me. I really support this. Our police officers deserve it. In my neighborhood, we've had some egregious problems that they've really tackled, and they've given it their all. And they've been through a lot in the last few years, and they really do deserve this. This is why I supported Measure H, and it's why a lot of my neighbors voted for Measure H. So I'm glad to see it finally coming. I have a couple of questions. I don't understand what retention incentive enhancements are. I could guess, but I'd like that explained. And I'd also like to know if there are bonuses in this plan for our officers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the bonus incentive enhancements, or I'm sorry, I kind of mixed those together. The retention enhancements are programs that we already have in place that we have enhanced to some degree to help with retention. And so there are programs that our tenured officers can qualify for, such as the Master Police Officers Pay. And so what that requires them to do is have a certain number of years of service and have a certain time and grade, and as well as participate in certain extra duties. And if they've done that, then they qualify for this program. So what that does is it enhances those that continue to stay with us. They can get into these programs and they can get these incentives and hopefully keep them here. So that's what we mean by retention. We want to retain those employees that are long-term and not see them go to another agency. The other question that you had was in terms of bonuses, and so there are no bonuses as part of this package.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Further council comments, Jeremiah Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that being a police officer in any city is challenging and very difficult, and I know that they're all human and none of them are perfect, but we're thankful today that the union worked with us to make this possible and being able to give them the money that they are now hopefully going to be given due to our council vote. They work so hard. It's a difficult job, and we are looking for new officers that are going to even better our community. And I want to thank Christina and our city manager for negotiating and working with the MPOA and coming up with a resolution to make this happen. So thank you very much. And to the public, they are definitely ready to protect and serve.
Thank you. Councilmember Escudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to Christina, team, and executive staff who got us to this point. I know that it wasn't overnight and on a whim that this agreement was made. It was done through very thoughtful conversations, discussions, back and forth in consultation with the council. So I appreciate the thoughtfulness that has gone into what has gotten us to now, which is a proposed agreement. This agreement, I feel strongly, brings us closer to having a stronger, healthier, more qualified law enforcement workforce. And I think that's to everyone's benefit. I particularly like the incorporation of the wellness program into this agreement. I think that's just a lovely component to it. Again, I think we are a better city because of this agreement, and much appreciative to the work you've done and the work that our Modesto police officers do on a daily basis. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from council members? I'll make a brief comment. I am supportive of this MOU and of the resolutions that I will soon be reading. I respect our officers and the work that they do every day. I appreciate our officers for the work that they do every day. They are expected to meet the demands of every single need in our community. They play the role of comforter, they play the role of enforcer, they play the role sometimes of parents. They take on so many responsibilities that are in many ways nearly impossible to meet. So I respect them, I appreciate them. I feel like our residents spoke loudly and clearly that they feel the same way that I do, and that is why they supported Measure H. So I will wholeheartedly be supporting this, this item. Any other comments from council members? All right. Seeing none, bear with me. I have a resolution approving an agreement including language changes for a successor memorandum of understanding between the City of Modesto and the Modesto Police Officers Association for a term of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2027, and related salary schedules, and authorizing the city manager or designee to take the necessary administrative action to implement the agreement. A resolution approving salary changes for unrepresented sworn police management and confidential employees, including executives, consistent with those in represented units, effective June 20th, 2023, as set forth in attached Exhibit A, summary of salary ranges and schedules for unrepresented sworn management and non-sworn management and confidential employees, including charter officers and executives, amending the summary of salary ranges and schedules previously approved by Resolution 2023-288, and authorizing the city manager or designee to take the necessary administrative action to implement the provisions of this resolution. Resolution approving changes to benefit offerings for unrepresented sworn police management and confidential employees, including executives consistent with those in represented units as set forth in attached Exhibit A, summary of benefit offerings for unrepresented sworn management and non-sworn management and confidential employees, including charter officers and executives, and authorizing the city manager or designee to take the necessary administrative action to implement the provisions of this resolution. Resolution amending the fiscal year 2023-24 annual operating budget for the necessary adjustments required to appropriate the funds for the approved memorandum of understanding between the City of Modesto and Modesto City Police Officers Association for the term of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027, and authorizing the city manager to take the necessary steps to implement the required budget adjustments. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Approved by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Second was by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky?
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Escudia-Brayton?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen?
Aye, and it carries unanimously. All right, are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I am calling this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.